I was drawn to Japan this time for unknown reasons. I have been several times before and fell in love with the country, its culture and people. I thought I was coming to run a medical conference and make a video about healthy eating. I also wondered if I might go looking for the fabled stories of Japan that fascinated me. The story of Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's most revered samurai, who taught himself to be the leading proponent of the two-sword technique. Or perhaps the story of Kaibara Eken, the samurai physician who 300 years ago wrote the book Yojokan, designed to teach the samurai how to be healthy, and which is still relevant today. I wondered if I might go in search of the Bushido spirit that I had tried for so long to incorporate into my character. However, as it frequently turns out in life, none of those reasons ultimately turned out to be why I'd come to Japan. It became apparent once I arrived that I'd come to get what I subconsciously needed, not what I consciously wanted. I found myself on a personal journey of forgiveness. However, I didn't need to learn how to forgive other people. That's the easy part of forgiveness. What I wasn't good at and what I had to learn was how to forgive myself. Forgiveness for some lies and excuses I had told myself and others over many years. Forgiveness for not leading the life of honesty and integrity that is now of so much importance to me. Forgiveness for trying to be someone I was not, for not being true to myself. I knew off by heart the thousands of reasons I had used to justify my actions over the years. I knew off by heart the rationale that these were good lies designed to protect others. Ultimately, however, I also knew that is how everyone justifies any lie, and that in reality, there is never such a good thing as a good lie. I knew that everyone makes mistakes and that no one is perfect. I knew that mistakes are how we grow and learn. I knew all this, but I knew it academically. I didn't know it spiritually. I didn't feel it in my soul. I had to find that. It's what I would spend my time in Japan looking for. A series of events then pulled me to Hiroshima. Hiroshima is a town of over 1 million people on the island of Honshu. It's infamous as the first city in the world to experience the devastating effects of an atomic bomb. At 8:15 AM on August 6, 1945, an atomic bomb was detonated 600 meters above the epicenter of Hiroshima. Instantly, 130,000 people lost their lives, and 90% of the city was incinerated. I walked past the memorial to the A-bomb, the remains of the promotion hall. I explored with great sadness the Peace Museum. There I was humbled by the Japanese honesty in their role and responsibility for the tragic events leading up to that day. There were no excuses in the museum or Peace Park. No glossing over of facts, no lies, no victim mentality. There was just an overwhelming desire to learn from their mistakes and never see anything like that happen again. I was incredibly moved by the story of Sadako Sasaki, who was exposed to radiation from the atomic bomb at the age of 2. She appeared to have escaped injury until 10 years later when she developed leukemia. Sadako heard that folding 1,000 paper cranes would make a wish come true. She set about folding over 1,000 paper cranes, each one invested with the wish to get well. She was joined by children all over the world who sent her folded paper cranes, which are housed at the monument to her at the Peace Park. I was inspired by the Japanese desire to change. For the samurai, there was no such thing as try to do. There was only do or don't do. And the Japanese changed. They went from a warlike nation to a nation with peace and tranquility as their core values. I was inspired by their commitment to putting right their wrongs, their bravery in looking forward with a different perspective while still honouring the past. They don't spend a lot of time in apology. They seem to live by the paradigm of judge us by our future actions, not those of our past. They are big believers in Gandhi's be the change you want to see in the world. I was inspired by their commitment to peace and rebuilding their lives full of hope, despite the terrible tragedy that had occurred. I sat in the bitterly cold Peace Park, deep in thought for a long time. I remember the Mark Twain quote about forgiveness. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that crushed it. I remember the prayer of St. Francis. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. And on that day, in that park, in the presence of the souls of that tragedy, I made a commitment to a life of integrity and honesty. In my opinion, it's something we all need to do for our own health, for there cannot be health without integrity. It's also something the world needs to do if we're to continue to survive on this planet. Robert Kiyosaki writes in his book Rich Dad's Prophecy that excuses are just lies we tell ourselves. Imagine what our health would be like if we understood that all our excuses to not exercise are just lies we tell ourselves. Find the time to exercise daily. All our excuses that we can't eat healthy are just lies. Make a commitment to a few disciplines practiced every single day. Start with drinking natural spring water and making a daily vegetable juice. Imagine what the world would be like if we stopped lying about the sustainability of our natural resources, our destruction of the environment for personal gain, the impact of poor food choices on our health, the starvation of millions caused by the flood of cheap genetically modified grains onto the world stage which puts local farmers out of business, the consequences of continually living beyond our means on credit, and our ability to keep printing paper money to fund wars and lies about the sustainability of countries' spiralling debt levels. Later, I sat meditatively at the famous Ryoanji Temple Zen Rock Gardens, reflecting on what I'd learnt. The garden is comprised solely of 15 rocks set amongst exquisitely raked white gravel. There are no trees. It was created in 1500 by the Zen monk Tokuhu Zenketsu. It is acknowledged as one of the masterpieces of Japanese culture. It is said that it is up to each visitor to find out for themselves what this unique garden signifies. The longer you gaze at it, the more varied your imagination becomes. Beside the garden was a very old Zen wash basin, inscribed with, "I learn only to be contented." In Zen, those who learn only to be contented are spiritually rich, while those who do not learn to be contented are spiritually poor, even if they are materially wealthy. And with time spent in the Ryoanji Zen gardens, I moved a giant step closer to an inner peace that is such a critical part of obtaining optimal health and vitality. I wish that for all of us. People can change.